here's the thing though, like with Lamar, do you think he wants to go back to the Ravens at this point?
So that's the thing. I don't even think it's really that personal. Because especially if you say Lamar
Really?
is his own agent, like, bro, they like he's trying to get his, they're trying to get theirs. They had 5 years of playoff contention. Um, really fizzed out. Like I said, when they get to the playoffs, like teams really just shut them down. But even besides that, like it's not like they were just horrible together. Like I think what they were 37-12 when Lamar was playing, so they were a contending team. At the end of the day, like they just not trying to give him his guarantee. So if he find a way to land somewhere where they can agree on a contract, or if he decides he wants a contract with another team and they match it, then I don't see him saying screw y'all, I'm leaving unless like, especially okay, if it's what if it's not the Jets? What if it's a team that really ain't that set up? Like, if at the end of the day, if you're gonna get the same money, you might as well stay with the Ravens.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same money though. I think fifth, like
No,
we're talking like
I'm talking about if that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he signs with another, if another team offers a contract and he know that's where he's gonna fall on,
right, right, right.
he might as well take it from the Ravens.
Mm.
Because
So,
at the end of the day, like no other team is gonna be that
but that's
set
the
up
thing.
unless it's the
It's not up to
Jets.
him. It's up to the Ravens
And,
though. It's
and no,
all up.
and I think the Ravens aren't doing all this to ship him off. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, I don't think the Ravens want to get rid of him. So it's up to Lamar on whether or not that relationship is
Okay,
good
so
or
you
not.
think
And I'm
in
thinking
their
he should
eyes,
think it as a business decision.
right? So you think in their eyes, they think that it's a really good relationship with him still. In his eyes, he should think that it's just business. No personal.
Well, I think they both should think it's business. 'Cause at the end of the day, the Ravens is a business. He probably has a good
100%. You're right
relationship
there.
with certain coaches and all that, but at the end of the day, the owner is going to do what's best for the business. And
That's
I
true.
still think on his end, being his own agent, he probably loves the Raven organization. He loves his teammates, loves the fans, but he still wants to get what he's worth.
Yeah,
So I
and
don't think
that's
neither one of these are personal. So the relationship might not be the good. It's because they
mm,
haven't. It's been over a year where they haven't been able to find.
that's
Uh, that's
that's exactly where I
that's what it is. Like
that's what I
they
was
don't
gonna
hate
say
each
because
other.
that's why I
It,
disagree with what you're saying is like because I do think it's personal. I think that this whole year has been personal. I think for him being such a young MVP, for him having the stats that he's had, and he has gotten better playing in the pocket. I mean, even this year you saw he definitely played better in the pocket. He's taken steps, but his offensive line just hasn't been there. I just think that like if you look at the Baltimore Ravens as a whole, like they've never paid free agents or they've never paid guys top dollar. Like if you look at the history of the top guys being like what their money is, it's never been from the Ravens. Even if you look at guys like Ray Lewis when he was one of the top linebackers, he was never getting paid number one linebacker money. It was always Urlacher getting paid above him because the Ravens, we look at him as like a bigger market team because they're flashy right now with Lamar Jackson, but that's just because they got Lamar Jackson and they did win a Super Bowl with John Harbaugh, but or back in 2014, I believe it was with Fluco,
yeah, yeah,
as I
yeah, yeah.
call him. But yeah, 2014, and so yeah, so they have they have their history with Ray Lewis and then also the '98 Super Bowl as well when they were there. I'm sorry, 2000 Super Bowl. Excuse me, 2000 Super Bowl. They were there against the Giants. Um, but that history, it only has one good quarterback to talk about, and that quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Like you can't say that you could say already in his fifth year, he is better than any quarterback in the history of the Ravens. So for a guy that's been one of the youngest MVPs, they should have been offered him a contract similar to what Russell Wilson got with the 180 fully guaranteed, something like that. That's what they should have offered him, not the 133 guaranteed where if he gets injured, he's only getting paid like 20 million a year. Like, and that's what would have happened this year if he would have taken that. Luckily, he did stay on his fifth year option, and I mean, I think that it's a good thing for him because now he's going to get more guaranteed than he would have gotten last year. Because we know that he wasn't going to get that type of contract that Watson got last year, but I think that he wants to set a precedent for the rest of the guys in the league, and that's why I love what Lamar Jackson is doing. I'm just very proud of him, and for him sticking to his guns, not getting an agent and actually telling them like, look, I want that fully guaranteed contract.
Well, that's the thing. Like for me, it's just like the numbers just don't make sense. Like you got to think about it. 2019, second year in MVP season. 2020, a little bit of a fall off, but at the end of the day, the Ravens didn't get worse. They probably didn't. I think AJ Brown was his first year. He's starting to get a little start, like a little bit of a fall off, but still 11-4, 2,700 yards, 1,000 yards rushing.
That's a rookie.
Um,
That's rookie numbers. Like,
no,
I
that's
mean,
his third year.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is
The
after his
second year
MVP
was the
season. The
1,200, and then
second year, yeah,
third
second
was
year was
sorry.
the
The first year he had
3,100.
900 rushing yards, right? He was almost at that 100. He was almost at that 1,000 yard mark.
No, he only had 700 the first year.
Oh, was it?
So as I
Okay.
say, so the first year he had 700 rushing, 1,200 passing, but he only played 7 games.
Right, that's what it was. Yeah, yeah.
MVP season, 3,100 yards, 36 touchdowns, 1,200 rushing, 7 rushing touchdowns. Next year, AJ Brown's there, but the team isn't like he just falls off a little bit, but it doesn't look too bad. They still go 11-4, 2,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, with 1,000 yards rushing. So at that point, now we're coming up to his fourth year.
Hmm.
Injured for a few games, they go 7-5. The games he play, 7-5 in the games he play.
Right.
He throws for 2,800 yards. And in those 12 games, he throws for 16 touchdowns and 13 picks. That's the year he decides to fight for his life. That year fell off, and I think that year he only had 767 yards
But you
rushing
do
with only 2
remember
touchdowns.
you
So,
do
like I said,
remember
he
what
got
happened
injured.
the first game of the year though. Like J.K. Dobbins, he went out of the first game of the year. Their running back literally like went out and they had nobody.
So that's what I'm saying. So at that point, now you got to rely on that MVP quarterback.
He still won 7-5. He still won 7-5.
16 touchdown, 13 picks. You
I
had a
get that.
36 touchdown season, a 26 touchdown season. Like what's
But
like, and I
we talking
understand
about a
like,
one-dimensional team at that point.
but at that point they also got AJ Brown, and we're starting. This is where oh snap,
Hollywood
AJ
Brown,
Brown,
Hollywood
or
Brown,
not?
who,
Yes, I'm sorry, Hollywood.
but
I keep saying AJ. But at
Hollywood
this
Brown was
point,
also injured that year actually.
but he
Hollywood,
wasn't injured for the full year.
no, he was injured like week 5, something like that. But still, yeah,
That's what I'm
like
saying.
the
At the
year
end of
was
the day, there's a lot of circumstances, but that's the year in the offseason he decides and he sees Watson get his fully guaranteed that he
true.
decides we're not staying at 133. Then, unfortunately for him, he gets injured again in 2022, only puts up 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns. And it's like, I get that you want your money, but you're like the passing to me hasn't improved. His rushing just by pure injury is going to go down. Just by pure lifeline, like he's a running back's only lasts for so long. So it's like if you don't improve how you are staying in the pocket, like how can you sit here and demand that money? And that's the thing. Like I get both sides, but at the end of the day, I do not sit here and fault the Baltimore Ravens for not giving him that fully guaranteed contract. Like I said, if Pat Mahomes was the one asking for that money right now, I would have no problem.
Yeah,
But my
and
man,
you know what
your
that
your ankle injuries haven't even kept you like. And I think you could blame the line, you could blame this, but then why would they give you all that money to not be able to fix up a line? You know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
you gotta.
that I definitely get. That I definitely get. But here's the thing. Like the way that they're treating him, they're trying to pay him what like in between Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones. That's what they're trying to pay him. They're not
That
trying to pay him
133 would
Patrick
have made
Mahomes.
him second of all time behind, no, not all time, but second behind Watson.
The total value, the total
Oh,
value. But I'm talking about the guaranteed money. The guaranteed money would have put him in between Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott. You know, so Daniels is at 88 million. Dak Prescott is at 140 million guaranteed. So those are two guys that you can really look at right now. Derek Carr got like 70 million guaranteed. Um, so those are really the two guys. And also, I'm sorry, Josh Allen. Josh Allen as well. He's at, but he's a little bit higher than him. He's at
with that
170.
extension.
Yeah, he's at 170 guaranteed. But still, like the other top guys that got the contracts, that are higher guaranteed are the top guys. Rodgers, you would think Mahomes, which is one of them. But then there's Russell, Murray, and Watson. So you tell me the Lamar is not better than those three guys?
He is, but just because those teams made bad business decisions don't mean that every other team now has to follow suit. And that's my whole point. There ain't no way Watson should have got that money. Ain't no way. And Wilson don't even look that bad when you look at his resume. It just, and we have to have a whole conversation about this, but he fooled the goddamn world for a couple years into just a whole nother dimension. But there are quarterbacks who deserve that money, and there aren't quarterbacks. But the last couple years, we've been seeing teams get desperate, throw the money at quarterbacks, and so like now each side are starting to get further apart on what they want. And so that's what I'm saying. Like I get it for both
That's
sides, but
that's why I
just
think the
because they paid
relationship's
all that
strained.
money, and you might be right on that. Yeah, you might
Because
be right.
I think that, to be honest, like I think that they are like, if they would have wanted to keep him, they would have just kept him on that franchise tag. Plus, the franchise tag would have been a little bit less than the exclusive. Like it would have been like 0.8 million less. So they would only pay him 32 million exactly. Would have kept him on the team. It would have been just a franchise tag, and he would have had to play under the franchise tag, or he would have sat out and sat out of training camp and maybe even like games until he got a contract. But we don't know that. But if they really would have wanted to keep him, I think that's what they would have done. I think what they wanted to do is they want to let him test the waters, and they're hoping the team doesn't give him more than like 150 fully guaranteed with
Well,
that
that's the thing.
$250 million contract. That's what they're
Well, that's the
hoping.
thing. I think that they're doing this like that because they know they're not giving him what he wants. But at the end of the day, if a team come close to second, and then they know that's what they have to give him to keep him because there ain't that's the best he can get. That's why I said like they're playing their hand. And at the end of the day, I think if a team makes a good enough offer, they're just gonna end up keeping him. They're gonna I think 100% that they're gonna allow him to, or not just allow him, but pretty much sign a more expensive deal with another team and then match and then keep him.
I'll be honest, man. I'll be so on. I think it's gonna be so weird if he's on the Ravens again. If we ever see him in a Ravens jersey, I think it's gonna be weird. I think it. I think that the relationship is strained. I think that, to be honest, the relationship is done. And I think that even if another team offers them something, or offers Lamar something, and the Ravens say, "All right, you know what? We're gonna match that offer, but we're gonna match it and then we're gonna trade you to that team again. We're just gonna take more picks from them instead of 2 first rounders. We're gonna take 4 first rounders. You know, if you want that much guaranteed." I'll be honest. I really think the relationship is strained. I don't think Lamar wants to play in Baltimore anymore. Obviously, he wanted to go home, play in Miami, but Miami said that they don't want him. In Carolina and Atlanta, the first thing
A
that
lot
came
of
out of
teams
their
don't need
mouths,
him.
like, but before,
Well, no,
like,
they need him, but they don't
I'm
want to pay for that.
yeah, but then again, they got a quarterback out there too who's been getting injured like just as much, and he's definitely not as good as Lamar. Um, and they don't want to pay him because they're gonna have to pay him next year anyways, and Tua Tagovailoa. But then again, like you got guys like Carolina and Atlanta that need quarterbacks, and why are you gonna come out and say before free agency even starts, you're not even gonna look at this guy? He's a he's a MVP in the league, regular season MVP, and you're not gonna even take a look at this guy's a free agent. Like, come on now. Like that seems like there's some collusion going on in the NFL. Teams are talking to each other. You know, they're probably telling each other, like, this is what's going
Not
on.
even because
We're not
of
gonna
if
do it.
because last year if Watson agents asked the other 31 teams for 250 guaranteed, they all would have told him no. I don't care who
That
the
I'll agree
quarterback
with. I
is.
agree with you there because I
And
don't
now
think.
Lamar Jackson, who's been injured for 2 years, is now demanding a price tag that there's teams that right away is like, no, no, I'm not paying that.
And no, I
That's
get
gonna
that, and maybe that fully guaranteed. I don't think he's even gonna get that because I really believe the NFL doesn't want to set that precedent. So I kind of agree with you there. I don't think that any team is gonna give him that. But what about like I was saying, like he was at 180 is what he wanted the Ravens to give him. They said no. They offered him 130. Do you think that he's ever gonna get something like 180 fully guaranteed from any team?
I mean, Rodgers at 150. Um,
Yeah, but that was a 3-year deal. He's looking for a 5-year
right.
deal,
That's what I'm
Lamar.
saying. I really see 150 being the highest some team will go with 5 years. Maybe
Because Rodgers is
160.
the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. He's getting paid 50 million a year.
Technically, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And as I was
he's
saying
a
that
3-year
that
quarterback.
as I was saying that 150 to 160 is going to be hard for a team to have to offer that guarantee, plus
So
two
you think it's a
picks.
3-year? a 3-year deal that the team's gonna offer, possibly.
They
Because
have
that's,
to.
you know what,
No one's
that's
gonna. That's to say,
actually
no one's gonna keep trying to give him that money for 5 years with the injuries. That's the problem.
damn. You know what? So if a team does offer him that, then he
He might
probably
have
did
no
make a
choice but to
mistake.
take it. Yeah.
He made a mistake, but I believe he's gonna get that 5-year. He'll get that 5-year, like close to 240, but not the guarantee that I was talking about. Probably something like 170 is what I'm
And that's
thinking.
the thing. It's not even personal to me. I play Madden franchise too much. I know when a bad business decision is staring at me, man.
I get it, but
That
man,
man is
listen, like,
injury prone, man.
so imagine this. So listen to this. Imagine if Lamar Jackson was on the Buffalo Bills. I mean, the way that their team is set up, I think that they have a great offensive line. They have a type of offense that's
They'd be
similar to Lamar
exactly where they're
Jackson's.
at right now.
They are, but they're very similar to Lamar Jackson because that's Josh Allen definitely does those, like,
No, they
uh,
would be where
uh
they are right now. They actually be less off because
handoffs.
Josh Allen's a way better passer and he could still run. At the end of the day, what they're missing is a legit running back to take the pressure off Josh Allen. They ain't no way in hell that Lamar Jackson is a good enough passer to take the pressure off himself if you have no
Man,
running game.
you just don't trust Lamar, like,
Not
as
at
a
all. Not a
franchise
passer.
quarterback, a franchise passer. Yeah, wow.
It's the passing. Like my
See,
man's literally averaged
I do,
250
man.
his whole career. Like his MVP season was an MVP season because of his rushing. Now you're adding ankle injury after ankle injury, and the rushing has no choice but to go down, and your passing has not improved. Why are we paying you all this money?
Because he's an MVP. He's shown that he can
Former.
win. He's
He's
shown.
a former. He showed that he could win.
I get that, but I mean, you got guys getting paid 40 million a year. Yeah, it's not guaranteed like we were talking about, but Daniel Jones just got paid 4 years, 40
Hey,
million. Derek Carr,
let the
150.
Patriots and let the where did Derek Carr go again?
Giants and the Saints for Derek
Saints,
Carr,
that's right.
and the
Oh,
Giants, like,
Jones, you
that was,
did say Jones, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but Jones was
let
a
the Giants let them
stupid deal
let's
by
say
them.
let them make their decisions. Like you can't we
Yeah.
can't expect Baltimore to give injury ridden quarterback who's hasn't showed that type of play because we're not gonna act like he had everything he needed in his MVP season. He didn't either, but he showed out.
Yeah. He was the main focus of that offense. And
Yeah,
I'll
he
be
showed
honest,
out.
man.
But then remember, he got right to the playoffs and
Yeah, he
got
did.
scraped.
He did. He had terrible passing numbers there, and he
They
definitely
to do for like
got sacked a
150
bunch.
yards or something.
He did, yeah. It was like
Uh,
140 actually, but yeah,
no,
terrible.
literally, it was
But
yeah.
the second time of him, the first time he won a game in the playoffs, he did have over 200 yards, and that was his issue. Remember, like his first two playoff games, he didn't have over 200 yards in each game, and finally he was able to. And I'll be honest, I do believe that he's getting better as a passer. The issue with the Ravens has always been like they need stuff around him, and they've always had those injury problems. Especially J.K. Dobbins, that's been a huge injury for them. Their number one running back 2 years in a row getting injured, that doesn't help your team at all because now you become one-sided. Lamar has to do most things on his own, and then when he starts running more than a running back, he was getting this year he was getting like 20 rushes a game, and that's why he got injured. So if they actually had a good running back that wasn't getting injured, this team could have been a lot better. I don't believe that the Ravens were really focused towards the offense. They were always focused towards defense. Like, yeah, they drafted good, but they never spent money for good offensive players, even good offensive linemen.